a chance to come back here and be part of just this special group that did some unprecedented things. What was this like for you to go through this run with these guys?
It was awesome. I feel so grateful for the opportunity to come back. Obviously, a lot of memories here and years spent here, and to see the success that the team had, throughout the year, and I was watching games all the time, and so just to be able to come back and be a part of the team it meant a lot to me.
Mark was just in here telling a story about how in his first year as a coach, you guys had one of those Arena Bowl walkthroughs, and he was kind of looking up into the stands and saying, like, the things that we're working on now are going to put T-shirts in this arena someday. Do you remember, maybe that specific conversation or some like it in those early years and kind of what that means today?
Yeah, I don't remember that specifically, but I do, remember those notions. And Mark and I were talking game one of the first round at home. Just the energy in the arena, and to experience that after some of the recent years was just immense and amazing. So it's been quite the journey, and I'm so proud of him. He's done such a great job. Sam, all the young players, they're doing so good.
As a veteran, what stood out most to you about what Chet Holmgren was able to do this season?
Honestly, to me, the biggest thing that some of the biggest things with Chet are obviously his competitiveness, and just he's always fighting hard every play. He'll run back hard in transition. He'll and make the right rotation defensively. It's a lot of little things. Obviously, he's got great skill for his size, and I think he's the most underrated shot blocker in the NBA. I think his presence at the rim and his tenacity in terms of continuing to go for blocks and not just giving up easy dunks because he's afraid to get dunked on. That goes a long way. I was really impressed with what I saw with him. He's got a very bright future, obviously.
You were here with Shai's early years. You look at him then and to now. I won't say you're probably not surprised, but what just the fact that where he was and where he is now, one of the top players in the league. Just your thoughts on that, the growth in such a short time.
Yeah. I was very impressed, blown away just early on from playing with him, and he's such a just a gifted and very just calm, cool player that even in the game last night in a high pressure game, he was just so composed, and to have that mixture of composure with his athleticism and his balance, his finishing, his shooting, and he had obviously a great year, and it's been awesome to see.
After a couple different runs here and being in Oklahoma City, what does this organization just mean to you personally?
It means a lot. I went through a lot in my life while I was here, and just the city, the fans, the way that they support the team, what the team means to the community. Those are things that I feel like I can relate to, and so it's I'll always be a Thunder fan, no matter what. No matter what happens in my life.
Mike, you spent some time around Boston last year. That's a team that's just inched closer and closer toward the big goal. I just wonder, from what you saw there, how that maybe compares to the operation here and how they're maybe inching toward what they want here.
That's a good question. And Mark alluded to some of how many years those guys have been in the playoffs. On the Celtics, compared to the young, the guys here, and there's been several years for guys. Think about Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, great young players that have fought hard in those playoff series, and so I think there are similarities, and Boston's a special place too, and so it'll be fun to watch them go forward.
What was your process like in deciding to come back?
I was meditating in a park and I seen a missed call from my agent, and he's just it was after All-Star break, and yeah, I was in Detroit. I actually really like Detroit, like the city. Love Monty Williams, and felt like I was just going on my own journey that I thank Mark a lot for helping me with just my general mindset. But yeah, it just kind of came about after All-Star break, and it seemed kind of surreal at the time, and it still kind of does in a way. I've been all over the place in the last 14 months. I've been I live in 6 different places, so it's been a journey that I wouldn't trade for anything though at the same time.
Yeah. So you were presented with the opportunity, and then it was something that you felt like was an easy yes for you. Is that correct?
It was not easy for me, but I'm very grateful I did it. Yeah, they allowed me to. Yeah.
You said Mark helped you with your mindset. What do you mean by that?
I've heard Derek Favors quote him too on this, but just being where your feet are, it's a big saying that he has, and just with what I'm saying about the different places I lived, and the amount of them in the last year especially, I just feel like just being able to embrace that journey and not fight it, and just be grateful for every breath, every day, because you never know what can happen in life, and yeah.
Mark was saying just how enjoyable it was for him to come in every day and coach this group and just be in the mix with you guys. How much did you feel that walking into this game every day?
I felt that, yeah. He's a great teacher. He's a great speaker, and ties the game into so much of life. So I definitely felt that, and I could sense the players being eager and intent on learning too.
How rare is it to have for this young group to have that mixture of joy and levity, but also professionalism in the environment that we face here?
It is rare. It's a good point. Yeah, it's rare. And that's something that Sam just alluded to in the meeting we had. Not to take, just stay humble about that, because it is rare. Yeah, and it just shows up. Just goes to show the the qualities of the young guys on the team. Man, it's really cool.
Mike, last thing on your decision, you did say that it wasn't easy for you. Just where did the difficulty lie in your decision to come back?
I've been moving all over, brother. I've been moving all over. So it's that's really what it comes down to.
What do you hope is next for you?
I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna finish packing, get my dog on my F-150 or my dad's F-150. I'm gonna drive up to Kansas City, spend the night, and I'm gonna finish the drive tomorrow and get on the lake.
Do you hope to be back here next year if it's an option?
I haven't gotten that one yet. Thanks.
Mike, you mentioned playing for a few teams over years, but you're one of the few guys on this roster who's also a member of that bubble team. Can you just sort of put into perspective of the growth of Shea, and then particularly Lou, of being a two-way guy and now almost shooting 40% from three?
Yeah, no, sometimes I think about that, yeah, especially when I see Lou out there playing, and the bubble, what was that, 4 years ago? Man, that's it's long, but it's also not at the same time. I don't know, it's just, so yeah, it's, I can't even put it into words, to be honest, I think that's just something that I just feel so grateful to have experienced, and to have been back with the guys, and there's just a presence about them, that, even, Lou too, Lou and Shea, but just embracing the moment, and I think the bubble is, to answer your question, is an example of, I remember Danilo Gallinari, who I got really close with this year too, because we got traded together a couple times, to DC and to Detroit, so, he was saying just at the time, just how excited he was for the bubble, and I think that mindset that he had was really helpful, for me and the rest of the guys, where he just embracing it and just felt so grateful to be able to play basketball during a time when, obviously COVID was wreaking havoc. It was a really tough thing for a lot of people. So I think that a lot of us just felt immense gratitude to be able to play a game that hero for us.
Is there
What-
an extra bond with those guys that you played with in the bubble compared to like just teammates you've had in the past?
Probably, yeah. You know, we were eating dinner meals together after games. We were playing poker in the room. You know, just you know, it for sure. Yeah.
Watching from a distance, were you surprised that they could make those jumps that they did from the bubble, then the 22-24 wins, and then where they are now 40, 57, the development of the team, I guess.
Yes and no. I think obviously like Chet, you know, it's a huge part of the team's success, and J-Dub, you know, played great this year. So I would say yes and no.
Where are the biggest gains that you saw from J-Dub in particular? You saw most of his rookie season up close, and then you kind of got to jump back in and see him like in practice. Like, were there any things that like surprised you about the way that he was playing when you came back?
Yeah, I mean his confidence, you know, was very high because obviously he's worked for that, and he's continued to just be that, you know, creator, that aggressor out there, and you know he had a great year, and you know his competitiveness, his tenacity, and just being out there, like I said, you know, truly being, you know, that creative ball handler that can score, that can guard defensively. He really impressed me with what he did. Yeah, he had a great year.
Mike, how did you see some of these young guys kind of grapple with the kind of microscope that comes with the playoffs, just the constant scout, being in a series with a team, just that level of, you know, detail that wasn't there in the regular season from the opposite side?
Sorry, what was the question? How did they?
How do you deal? How did you see the guys deal with some of the young guys deal with being under the microscope that comes with the playoffs, just that level of detail, scouting, and everything?
Yeah, they did great with it. You know, I think they just remained present and asked good questions, and the coaching staff did a great job. You know, watching film with us and you know, giving us good game plans. But I thought that they did a great job, and they also didn't overthink things too. You know, and in the playoffs, and just also had a level of just going out there and playing too. So it was good.
Mike, you went to playoff in the bubble and no fans, and this is the first time I think you have a Peckham Center full of fans. And what did you think of the fans in the playoff time, and also the airport welcome?
Yeah, I remember turning to Kale, he's one of our strength coaches, and I said, I've been playing 11 years, and I've never experienced anything like this in one of the playoff games. It might have been the first round, because it was just insane in there. I mean, it was like amazing. Just the togetherness of the crowd, the rhythm that they had, and just like there was just a rhythm to it, you know, with wearing all the same color shirt, and the loudness, you know. So, you know, shout out to the fans. They were amazing, and even getting off the plane last night. I know they had been at that gate a couple other times, you know, during these playoffs, but just even last night, just getting off the plane and seeing that sight is something I'll never forget. Yeah.
Can you describe like the difficulties of like being traded multiple times over the last like 14 months or so? Like what that is like, maybe like tangibly like, and maybe emotionally like?
Yeah, I don't view them as difficulties, truthfully. I just view it as a journey that, I mean, you know, I have early, you know, in years past when it was kind of first happening, getting traded, I was a bit naive to it, and I think I probably fought it in a way of, you know, new situation and whatnot. But I think now I just view it as like a blessing that, you know, to be able to play in the NBA and to, you know, have those kind of things happen. You know, go from OKC to Boston and to DC and then to Detroit and then now back here. You know, it's like, what other job could I experience something like that in such a short window? And to see some really cool places, to meet some really cool people, and to get to know different cities, like to get to know their history more. And it's, you know, places I wouldn't live if it wasn't for playing the NBA. So I guess I just try to stay grounded as possible with it, but also acknowledging that, you know, it is a high energy kind of thing. It is NBA basketball, so that's why I am looking forward to just, you know, decompressing a bit. this
Mark,
summer.
Mark talks about you guys, pro players are kind of like almost individual contractors. And so if you go from Detroit, a losing situation, and I'm not sure what your minutes were there, to Oklahoma City, where it's a winning situation, but your minutes are going to be limited. How do you look at that? Is it a, hey, I'm going to a winning situation, but I may be losing minutes? How do you look at that whole situation?
I would have come back to Oklahoma City regardless of whatever the record was or anything. It wasn't about that for me.
Anybody else? Thanks, Muscala.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.